Good afternoon, everybody, and a very warm welcome to Mildenhall and Volmer. And it's been some time since I last spoke to you guys, and there's a very good reason for that. Also, as you can see, I'm not positioned in my usual spot, but that's just not to give you too much away just now. We'll all come to what's been going on shortly. And today promises to be a pretty long video, so if you haven't looked at the timings on the corner, you might want to get yourself something to just either nibble on or some snacks, whatever, drinks, coffee, whatever, just to get you through the video and stuff, and hopefully you'll stick through it. Like I said, it should be interesting because it is a pretty mega video update. Despite the fact that I haven't been on the screens for a while, it's mainly because of my work commitments. I've just been working long hours, long days, long shifts, and it's just been long. And today is my first day off in a long time, and but yet in between all of that, I still managed to get a lot done on the layout since I last spoke to you. So we're gonna crack on and get on with it. And I would like to just show you, for those of you who haven't seen it before, I am sitting on my railway chair. And here we are, my railway chair that I made. This is my District Line Class D stock District Line chair. So I made that, and it's still sturdy and going strong. So that's fabulous. So what is there to talk to you about today? Why is it so mega? Well, we have the first part of the extension, which is not too far off done. The actual bit is actually made, it's just the scenic side of it. So we have, I've also been experimenting with new materials. So I've been experimenting with this, and it was an idea that I got off a YouTuber called Marklin of Sweden, and he does some tutorials and things like that. And this isn't quite what he was using, but it gave me this kind of idea of that I could experiment with this, and I have experimented, and I'll show you what I've been doing with it shortly. So these are basically florist blocks, so you get these from any garden centre. They're quite soft, so they're very easy. So it's basically to make stuff like hillsides and scenery and landscaping, because this is so easy to cut and shape and all the rest of it. So it's really, really, so when I get to it, I'll show you what I've been doing with these. I've got another 3 blocks of these. They're relatively cheap. It says it's £1.69. So I've been experimenting with these blocks. Like I said, you've got to be a bit careful opening them and touching them and handling them, because they are quite soft, and so you can mark them quite easily, which is good from a cutting and shaping point of view. But obviously you just have to be a bit careful with them. But I'll explain to you in a little bit later what I've been using these for. Also, I've been using this, which is, this is actually a new pack. I haven't actually opened it. I actually thought I would need a new pack. As it so happens, I had enough left over. And this is just some super quick red brick sheets, I think they call it. Yeah, red brick sheets, letter D. So there you go, those of you who are interested in it. And this is what I made my TMD out of, and I've subsequently done some additional work with this sheet, which again, when it comes to the time, I'll take you over there and I'll explain to you exactly what else I've been up to. Now next, I have 2 mega boxes to show you. Big boxes. Now this is the first one. Basically, I've been oohing and ahhing for some time about my controller. Now I think it's Wireford. Forgive me if I've got this wrong. Wireford or channel. I can't remember the exact channel name, so forgive me if you're watching. He's got a really nice modern image layout, and he's running the Prodigy Express as I am. Now he's been having issues with his Prodigy Express, and as you guys well know, I've had issues with my Prodigy Express also for some time. And to be fair, I've had it for some time. I mean, I've been living here for about 2.5 years, 3 years. I did actually have it for Ringwood South. So it's probably about a 5-year-old system that I've had it. And it has served me well to a degree. However, as I've kind of grown to live with it, you kind of get to understand the flaws of the system. And so I've decided that I wanted to get a new system for the layout. And I've been oohing and ahhing, and I've been debating this for some time, and I've gone through all the various permutations. Like I said, I've got the Hornby Elite, which Alan over at Dragon Junction, my rather comical friend, he just gives me a laugh every time I see him on the screen. You just wonder what's going to come on when he sits down. What's it going to look like this week? But yeah, love him to bits. He's done so much for me. He kindly gave me the Hornby Elite, and again, so I know what that's like to live with. I've got the Prodigy Express, which is what I've currently living with. And then obviously I considered the upgrade version of the Gauge Master, the Ecos, the Batman, Dynamis and all the rest of it, and the Ultra Batman version, the NCE and all the various other ones. And I've always kept coming back to the Digitrax system. And it's an American system, and I'm not going to go too deeply into this in this video on it, because basically that's going to be another video on its own. But I will give you a brief look and show you what it involves and how it's come about, because I've been oohing and ahhing about it for some time, and it's come even more prominent now because Hornby, good old Hornby, I've been after this transgendered, sort of, I wouldn't say transgender, but I guess it's LGBT kind of Rainbow 800, which they've promised. A bit like the LNER 800. And I think it was originally supposed to be due like around now, any time now. And I've since found out from my local model shop, Paul, that it's now not due till September 2023, I think is what he said. So I think he said third quarter 2023. So that's not even next year. So God knows what the price is going to be by the time we get there, and whether I'll even be bothered about it by then. So I went in there the other day, sort of talking to him about it. So, I also, going back to the Digitrax system, I know he doesn't deal in Digitrax systems. However, he did say to me he had a second-hand system, which is what this is. And then he's sort of saying, if you want, you can take it home, try it before you buy it, and see what you think. And, see if it works for you, and then we can discuss prices and everything. So that's pretty much what it is. Now, I've already got it set up on the layout, but there were some other bits on here. So I'll quickly touch through it on the layout shortly. But I'm just going to give you a quick brief. I mean, there was so much in it, honestly, that it was crazy. So, firstly, now, just a quick sort of brief overview. When I first came back to the hobby, I think it was about 2008, 2009. I was using the Digitrax system at the club layout, which is why I kind of got familiar with it. And that's how I'm sort of leaning towards it. I've also got a good friend of mine, Nigel, as you may have seen from Cotton End. He runs the Digitrax system also. So, and also Charlie over at Chadwick Model Railway. So I've spoken to him briefly, with messaging him backwards and forwards a little bit, and the rest of it. So this is one of the controllers, but I mean, all of the stuff that's here that I'm going to show you, I'm not actually going to be using, because some of it isn't actually going to be relevant. He just gave me the whole box and said, look, this is the box, have a look, try it out, see what you think, and then take it from there. So this is one of the controllers, but this is a very old basic controller. This is like an old dial controller, and you sort of dial it in, and that's really not what I'm after. However, I'm just showing you what was in the box. However, there was a number of these and in there, which is, there's about 4 of them, I think. And these are what you call DS64 units. For Charlie will know exactly what I'm talking about. I, however, have not. I'm not familiar with these at all. Now, basically, these are kind of run as accessory boxes. If you look at it like from Robert's train set, like the Hornby kind of things that you can run accessories off this, and I believe it's 4 accessories that you can run off of this, so you can then control it via your handset. So basically, it's going to be like points, signals. You can wire them up to here, and then you can use your handset to throw the points or throw the signals to get the correct signals that you want. Then you have a few panels. One of them's on the layout, but it isn't actually attached. And this is one of the panels, like an infrared panel. So you can use this wirelessly if you have the handset with the wireless capability, which is something which I quite like the idea of. So it comes as a panel like this, and then you can just attach it to your layout. Also, that came with it was a full set of instructions. And so let me just put this down for a moment. So this is like full set of instructions that came with it. Also that came with it was another set of instructions, which is in this box here. But also which came with it was 2 of these handheld controllers. And this was the basis of the Digitrax system. And it has been upgraded, so this isn't the latest all singing, all dancing handset. Those of you who are familiar with the Digitrax system will know that they've upgraded the system to more digital displays, and the handset is a lot more fancy. And this is basically the predecessor of those handsets. But this is when I came back into the hobby, this is what I was using. And but this is the DT400, and I have another one which is connected to the layout, which is the DT402. And I wasn't quite sure about what it meant. So once again, my good friend over at Coastal DCC, Kevin over at Coastal DCC, basically he is the agent that I deal with in terms with the Digitrax system, and he can get hold of the system for me. So I'd originally, prior to this, I'd already spoken to him about it. So so I asked him when I picked his brains, what is the difference between the 402 and the 400 handset? And the difference is basically, this is a very basic handset, and the functions, sound functions, can only go up to 12, which is the 12 buttons that you got on the front, which is like the original sort of DCC system before they brought out the 28 functions. So when those of you long enough in the hobby to remember will know that when they first brought out DCC, it was originally about 10 or 12 functions you could have, and then it got upgraded to 28. So these older units, which is what this one is basically only 12 functions. So this isn't really any good to me. However, the 402, which I'm using, has got the full capability. And what I like about these is that you can control 2 locos from these 2 dials, and also you've got the when you're turning the dials, you can hear the distinct clicking. You can feel the clicks between the steps, which is something that you cannot feel on the Gauge Master. There's no clicks on the Gauge Master dial. It's just literally you just turn the dial and it will just keep going. And I haven't been using the dial for a long time because it's been too unreliable. So luckily, I think it was either Gary or Alan had both pointed me out that you could use the plus and minus buttons on that Prodigy Express handset to control the trains, which is what I have been doing to run the layout. I haven't used the dial for ages because it's just too unreliable. So again, you can use those 2. But like I said, I'll show you the full version of that. Like I said, I'm not going to go too deeply into it. I'm just going to show you And also what came with it, and this is what made this whole system a bit overkill, to be honest, is this, which I love. It's such a pity it isn't the latest version. So if those of you who are interested in this, you can get the upgraded version, which is absolutely superb, which I still might get because I really love the idea of this. And this is the Zephyr. And this is the Zephyr, and this is a DCS 50. And again, there's a later version, which is DCS 51. But this is the old one. And again, this is the old one in terms of it hasn't got the full functional capability in terms of the sounds. Again, it's the 1 to 12 or whatever it is. I think it's 1 to 12 or 1 to 10 sound functions, which is basically, in this day and age, it's like anyone buying a DCS, a Digitrax system or any digital system would just walk straight past this. So this isn't any good to me as such. And there's two of them as well. But what I do love about this is I love this dead man's handle. I love controlling the trains through this dead man's handle. It is just such a lovely way to control trains. You can, like I said, get the uprated version, the brand new version with the digital display. So if you do like the idea of the dead man's handle to run your trains, then you can use that, and it's absolutely brilliant. One of the other functions that I also liked was this function here, which is like got the forward and reverse to switch direction, but you've also got a brake as well, which is absolutely brilliant. So you can switch it to the brake and it will eventually just slow the train down. And so it is absolutely brilliant. It's just such a pity that it is a DCS 50 because it's just no good. If it was a DCS 51, then it would have had the full sound function capability. So that's a bit of a shame, really. However, like I said, it is good to show you these things because even though it's one of the old ones, if you get one of the newer ones, you would still get the brakes and the dead man's handle, but you just get a nice digital display, and you get this dead man's handle. And it's, like I said, I do love this system. It's very popular with Americans. It's very much an American system. One of my YouTubers that I'm subscribed to, it's got a fantastic layout. And I will have a quick word on the American layouts because I know a lot of people don't particularly like American layouts, but from my point of view, it's like it's an understanding thing. You need to be able to understand the way that they run things, and that's what it is. And I still don't, but what it is I've always said, it doesn't matter what gauge you run, it doesn't matter what era you run, and it doesn't matter what the country you run, but sometimes you've got to take your hat off and say that is a damn good layout, you know, regardless of whether it's N gauge, O gauge, whether it's American, British, whether it's in the 50s or whether it's up to date. You know, sometimes you just look at a layout and you just kind of go, wow, that is a good layout. And a lot of Americans do run the Digitrax system or the NCE system. And just to briefly touch, the two YouTubers that I do follow actually, that are, one's Canadian, which is BA Rail System, and he's got a fabulous layout. And what amazes me about American layouts and Canadian layouts is the size, the way it takes up the whole, like they've got it in multiple layers and it's multiple rooms. And I guess that's why I'm sort of introducing that to my British layout, that it's going to run all the way around the flat, which it didn't quite do over at Behringer. And the other American one, which I love dearly, and is called NS Modeler. I believe it's NS Modeler, and he's got a fabulous layout. It's just absolutely amazing. And I love when he does the running sessions. It's the narration. You know, he's proper explaining it to you. You know what's going on, and it's quite enthralling and engrossing. So if any of this appeals to you, please go and check them out. It's the BA Rail System, and also the NS Modeler. Like I said, you know, for me, I don't watch many American, Canadian stuff because, and even like stuff like even N-Gauge is like, I don't watch too many, but there are certain, like I said, there are certain channels, certain layouts where it doesn't matter whether it is O-Gauge or whether it's N-Gauge or whether it's new or old or whatever. you just get sort of go, wow, that's just great work. Right, next, God, we've been going 20 minutes. This is going to take some time, honestly. Right, next is another huge box. Now this box, I was not expecting to be the way it has. And the reason why is, this is how big this box is. And it is just a crazy box. And the reason why it's a crazy box, because I ordered it from eBay and it wasn't quite what I thought it was going to be. However, it's actually better than what I thought it was going to be. Now, let me take it out and I'll explain it to you in more detail. So, they come in these sort of, I'll show you a stack. This is like a stack of them. And what you don't grasp from the TV screen is the weight. This is so weighty. This is like, there's 20 pieces and I'm going to show you exactly what they are. Basically, and as I show you the layout, it'll become clear where I'm going to be using these. But basically, this is what it is. This is these ready-made arch kits, and it's made out of ceramic, as you can see. These are ceramic arches. Now, when I bought them on eBay, I was under the impression it was going to be foam. I don't know why. I mean, it's my own fault because I didn't ask. It just looked like foam, and I thought, oh yeah, they look like foam, because I know that foam ones can be quite expensive. So when I got these, I was like totally blown away, because I really didn't expect them to be ceramic tiles, and that's exactly what they are. They're ceramic arch tiles, and basically it's going to be for what I'm going to show you over there, and there's 20 pieces, 10 per side. So that becomes that. Now, whilst I'm here, I'm going to show you something else. Now, do you remember this brick I showed you? Well, I've been making tunnel, and it's not finished or by any stretch of the imagination. So I'm going to show you where we're at with it. This is what I've made, and as you can see from the inside, I haven't done the inside yet, but basically it is this block, and it's made from this block, so it makes it very, very lightweight. So I've basically carved this, let me just put that over there, it's annoying me. So I've basically carved that block and placed 2 blocks, and basically the 2 blocks are then glued together using a hot glue gun, and then basically I've then plastered it on the outside, and I've PVA'd it to seal it, and that's where I'm at the moment. Now, the texture is a bit rough and ready at the moment, and it's quite difficult to imagine because you have no concept of where it's going to go, but hopefully when I show you, you'll get the gist. But generally speaking, the front's it's all going to be covered, all sides. This is going to be up against the back seam. This side is going to be facing outwards into the room. So the only bit you're really going to see is basically this top bit here. Now this top bit here is angled, and it's going to be coated in bushes and shrubs and stuff like that. And the front is obviously going to be the porthole, which I'm going to be creating, but not using this. It's just going to be stuck to the front. So this is just how it is at the moment. But this is a very easy way to sort of build up landscapes quickly. And it literally takes seconds. It doesn't take very long to build up these landscapes. But the thing is, obviously the plastering then takes time to go off, and the PVA then takes time to go off on top of that. But that's the stage we're at. Once this is dry, the top layer is dry, then tonight I can do the same. I can drop this on its other end and do the bottom end, and do the same on the bottom end to cover the tunnel porthole. So that's where we're at with that. So we'll spin you around and take you to the layout, and we'll start looking at the layout and show you what else I've been doing. So just to go back to the control system, this is the Digitrax system that is offered to me. This is called the Super Chief Extra Set. And if I just show you, that was my old system that I've got there. Like I said, this isn't mine yet. I'll just get that over there. This isn't, the Digitrax system isn't mine yet. I'm still under the process of testing it. But as things stand at the moment, I'm very happy with it. And as you can see, this is a DT402. And then you can sort of have a quick look at the functions. But I will go through this system on a different video, assuming that I do end up taking it on board, and I'll give you a bit more of a better rundown on it. So it's just to kind of briefly show you what it comprises with. So it comes with that, the actual set itself comes with that and that. You have to bring your own power supply system, but that came with it, which is this system, which is this box here. This is putting out 5 amps, so that's 5 amps coming out of that system. So that's what the control system can handle. So that's going to be more than enough for this layout that I've got going on here. Right, so next on the layout is numerous new vehicles have been added to the layout, and I've just been building up a little selection. We're going to start off with John Warner, who bought me a couple of bits for my birthday. And one of them was the Sainsbury's lorry, which is just currently, I know it's a bit higgledy-piggledy, so a bit jumbled up, but that tractor unit, which is on the front of that Sainsbury's lorry, that's where that is currently sitting at the moment. There isn't any vehicles on the ramp at the moment because I had a little bit of misfortune, and that is, let me see if I can show it to you. There you go. That hatch there fell on top of the layout and fell directly on top of the footbridge and on top of one of my new locos. Fortunately, there was no damage done, but as a precaution, I sort of evacuated the ramp until I sort of get a locking system sorted out for that. So first of all, I'm going to show you some more buses. This one here. Now, I'm not sure if I've shown you this one before. This is a Boris Master on the route 10 to Hammersmith. I've got the Coca-Cola variant, but like I said, I do like the plain ones, and it's an absolutely stunning, stunning bus. Absolutely stunning, beautiful. I'm not sure, again, if I've shown you this one, but this is the number 11, which is basically on its way to Fulham Broadway. Another Boris Master, and again, this runs local to where I live, as did the number 10. And like I said, I did mention John Warner, and I went straight into the buses. So John Warner also bought me this little white van, some of you may remember, and I've just converted it into a stagecoach sort of engineering support vehicle. So thank you, John, for that. That's what's happened there. I bought these separately, these little things. They don't light up. They just come as a pack of 10, and you just stick them on. So I've just basically, that's what I've done, just stuck it on, and it looks quite smart. So I'm really pleased with that. So I've just made my own little vehicle there. I did have actually the chevrons to put on the back of this, but I completely messed it up because I didn't realise. I thought it was a water slide, and it wasn't. And then when I put it in the water, I messed up the back end. So I've ended up having to sort of do this, but it still looks great anyway. Speaking of another John, John Barnes, who sent me some stuff for my birthday. He bought me this vehicle, which is a Ford Cargo box van, and along with that vehicle, he also bought me, there's my hand, there you go, he bought me this Royal Mail transit van, which is absolutely fabulous. So thank you very much, John, for that. He bought me that some time ago, and it only arrived not that long ago, but I haven't done a video since, so that's why. Also, I've been picking up some other vehicles as well. This is another new vehicle. I'm not sure if I've shown you this one. This is a Royal Mail Sprinter van. Absolutely gorgeous vehicle. Then I've got, this is a Land Rover and Defender, I believe it is, yeah, Defender. To be honest with you, I don't like these new ones. The old ones are nicer. That's like my own personal opinion. But yeah, it is. Then I've got another Network Rail van, which is cool. And that's going to go over where I'm going to show you next. So that's that one. I've also got a classic Range Rover. Now this is going to go over probably in the bedroom side when I do the country area to go, and so that's just one of the classic Range Rovers, which is just absolutely beautiful. And I've got a Corsa, just a standard Corsa. So that's kind of blends in with the sort of modern image theme. I've also got a black Nissan Qashqai. And I've also got this. Now this is, excuse me, a lot harder to get hold of than I first thought. I thought it was going to be relatively easy, but apparently they're few and far between on the ground. So this is going to go again on my TMD area, which I'll take you to shortly. And then we have these little, these are little light bars that you can just stick on. They're non-working, but they do actually work. So next I'm going to show you is something that I bought on eBay. And this is, I'm going to show it to you on my sort of Hatton 66. And there you go. So this just basically slides on top of the buffers. Apparently this, when I bought this from a guy from eBay, he said to me that this is a only for Hornby and Bachmann 66s, but I tried fitting it on a Hatton 66 and it does actually work. It does actually fit. This is to do with, for those of you who are looking at this going, what is that? Basically it's to do with the scanning of the equipment on the rails, like the AWS ramps and the TWS. So this basically goes along the train, goes along the line, and it's sort of scanning the rails and scanning the equipment that's on there, and basically that's what it does. I got this off of eBay from a seller on eBay, and it's pretty cool actually. I've had to spray paint it. It's 3D printed, and it just sits on top of the train, sits on top of the buffers, I should say, like so. So there's no harm done to the actual loco itself or anything like that. It just sits literally on top of the buffers, like so, and that's it. There you go. I've also got some handles. I've got a number of handles. These handles that I've got here were all salvaged from Behringer. This is how long I've had these handles. I bought some furniture from Argos, but over the years it got damaged and weakened. So when I moved, I bought some new furniture, but I kept the handles. And basically I'm using these handles to create cabinets and stuff like that. So I'm going to show you one of the cabinets that I made, and I'm going to show you what else that I've done as well. Here we've got a UP5 panel from Digitrax, and this is basically to be able to extend and connect the various handsets for the system. So just to sort of show you this panel too. So next comes the sort of exciting bit, I guess, in terms of the extension and where this is all going. And as you can see, we're at a triangle. Now I had attempted this once before. Some of you will probably know that I have. Oh, what does that look like? That's just the sunlight. That isn't actually marked. It's just the way the light's hitting that. So basically what's happened is because of that panel on top of the layout, which I showed you, which fell down, I need to be able to move the layout forward. So those of you who are not familiar with this procedure, once a year they do a gas inspection, and they need to have access to the boilers, access to the boiler and the root of the boiler, which runs above the ceiling. So this whole layout that you see in front of you, the main layout, has to be pushed forward. So in order to be pushed forward, I need to make this removable, which I had done before. However, what I have done is I've made it easier for myself. So I've had to rebuild this. This is brand new plywood, which was built. It's a brand new fascia all the way through. As you can see, it's now more of a triangle. And as you can also see, all of the sidings have now gone. So there's no fiddle yard anymore. As you can see, it's kind of an extension of my TMD, as it were. And as you see, all those tracks that you saw before, that used to be lined up from left to right, have all disappeared. So it's just literally just two main running lines. And you can probably see that there's a join just there. That's where the join of the board is. So this bit is 4 foot piece of board between here and here, just basically just lifts up, and I take it off, and then that allows me to move the layout into the room so they can gain access to the hatches. And then this is how it's going to be. I'm just simplifying everything now. So the main running lines are just how it is. This is just going to be 2 lines all the way around. So I'm still working on this. So those network rail vehicles I've showed you, they're going to be living over here somewhere. But like I said, this is still, like I said, a work in progress. Also, there's also under here is the reverse loop module. And I'm just going to take you off and show you. So under here, as you can see, the wiring. So basically, you just unplug that, and that takes out the power between that board and that board, and that allows me just to lift this board up. There is the reverse loop module, and that's just tucked away in a plastic Tupperware box, but I can take access to that, because what I can do is basically I've just screwed the lid to the bottom of the baseboard, but if I lift the flaps up, I can then release it to gain access to it. So it's just kind of like a bit of protection for it. So that's just to keep it safe. And then there's more wiring down there to access it to the other board. So you can see that there's a connection right down, if I can find my finger, one there, and there's one there, and that splits the power from that board to be able for me to lift this up. So moving along to this end of the layout, as you can see, I've now, that brick sheet paper that I had or showed you, I've redone these warehouses along the back here to make that look nice. Like I said, the fascia board has also been done, and also you can see that there's a drop here on this next piece of fascia board. But that's because of what I'm about to show you. So this bit is now the new bit that we're sort of coming into now. I'd like to apologise for the lamp, because that kind of gets in the way a little bit. So let me just try and get it out of the way that way. That's it. Now what I do need to do is just blend in this back seam here, because this back seam is what I did originally, and I don't like that bit. So I'm going to redo this little bit of the back seam here to blend it in with the main piece, because I've also been experimenting with the back seam. So I've now got a new back seam here. Now this back seam is to reflect stormy weather, really, kind of overcast, grey, stormy, cold weather. This is basically to kind of just make it like it's a winter, autumnal feel. That's kind of what I like the idea of. And I'm just going to leave you there for one moment, and I'll be straight back. So remember the ceramic tile that I showed you? So just to give you a bit of a flavour of what's going to happen, is that is going to go there, like so. And then that is going to line up all the way across. So at the moment, it's got this sort of stormy weather going on at the background, and it runs all the way along the back of the layout, back wall, until we get to the end. And as you can see, the track is laid all the way to the very end. That's the buffer stops there. So it runs all the way to the back. And we've got this stormy, overcast weather going on in the background, which I'm really, really liking. The arches will run all the way along here, and it will also run along the other side, which is a bit of a shame, really, because you're not really going to get to see it. but in the interest of symmetry, or maybe I could do it out of card if I wanted to, but I've bought the tiles now, is basically do that. And then what I'm going to do is that sort of tunnel kind of hillside thing that I showed you in the very beginning will go right at the end, if I can find my finger, right there, and then it's going to come down and be blended into the walls. And that's where we've got so far. And I'm really, really pleased with this back scene. It's a very cheap back scene to make. I did it along the same sort of lines, excuse me, as my other back scenes, and I'm really pleased with the effects. I'm so pleased with it. It really does create what I wanted, and it's none of this ID back scene stuff or photographic scenery of any description or Gauge Master ones, which I find, unless you get them right, they're just a nightmare. To me, it's pointless having them if you can't get them perfect. But the thing is, in order to get them perfect, you've got to get it done perfect first time. You know, once you lay out, if you get it slightly wrong and you end up with creases, bubbles, it just looks awful. And basically, I'd rather do it this way. And I actually prefer the results. Now I'm going to be adding some other scenery, but you can imagine that the ceramic tiles is going to go all the way along to the end of the end of this viaduct here, and then I'm going to end up blending in the scenery in the back and dropping that down and marrying it up to the ceramic tiles. And we're going to have some trees, and I've got some more buildings which I might experiment with to see what we're going to do. Finally, before we go, because this is going to be an absolute epic video, long video, I'm going to be blending in and getting rid of this cabinet. And when I say get rid of it, I'm going to actually finally get round to putting a door on it using the handles that I've got, and basically just to seal this in, to tidy this up, and then this can all be painted up in a white, and then it just looked like a nice tidy part of the flat rather than just sort of seeing all these logos, which is nothing wrong with them. It's just to tidy it up, and basically if visitors come round, it's just like, you know, you're going to be able to, the flat's just going to look tidy and finished. So here we are at the end of the layout, which is as far as it's got. So we've now made it to the far end, far corners. As you can see here, this is where the other board will just sit on top of this block. That will marry up to this board, and then that'll be another lift up section, which then goes on to the next section. And the tunnel section will start from here, go all the way through, all the way past the door. So when you go across into the next section, you won't actually see what's going on. And then when it emerges, it will just emerge into the next part, which will be the corridor. So all of this is going to be sealed up. You won't see it. And all the track work is just going to be pretty much just twin track straight down. And as you can see, again, to make it part of the flat, I've constructed this cabinet. Again, it's yet to be painted, but it is constructed. It does work. So it's all nice and solid. And if I open it up, I've just put some drawers in there, and that's actually got stored, at the moment it's storing some of my locomotives that I haven't got boxes for. And as you can see, I've still got some of those blocks on the bottom shelf, and my Borderlands bus garage, which I might still use somewhere, maybe. So it's just basically just another little storage area, but in a more sort of tidied area. Then you've got a little magnet right at the bottom there, and then that just there you go. That was just the tunnel mouth bit falling off at the top, but that's because it's not really done yet. And that's how it looks. And then that little piece of wall will then get blended into the ceramic tile, which we've got going on over there. So well done if you've made it all the way through to the very end. I'm hoping that it was interesting enough that it went quite quickly. So like I said, it has been a bit of a labour of love recently. I have done a hell of a lot since I last saw you. And it's but I have enjoyed it. I do enjoy it, and now I know what I'm doing. I can crack on and get on with it as and when I've got the time. So I'm off for the next 4 days. So my plan is to sort of crack on with the viaduct side, maybe put the retaining walls in if I can, but I do need to get the sort of shapes made from these bricks and finish all that. And so I've got all that to do. And also, if I can, I'd also like to fit the door on the cabinet on the other side there, and again get that finished up. And so it'll be all ready for painting. So when I get the paint out, I can do it all in one hit. So I can get this cabinet painted up here, that's on this corner here that I've just made, and also get the door made and finished and painted up on that end as well. And hopefully that will then bring the layout and the flat a bit more finished and tidied up all the way through. So thanks for sticking with it, and until the next time, and there might be one more video before Christmas. If not, a Merry Christmas to you all, and season's greetings, and stay safe. And oh yeah, on the personal level, I've got some great news from the EU settlement scheme. I've got my ID card back. I still haven't got the passport, but that's for me to deal with. But it looks like they're at the decision-making stage for my applications to stay, which, to be honest, it shouldn't really be a big deal. But, you know, I'd just be nice just to officially get that said and done. So I'll be really pleased with that. And also, they've also said I haven't needed to send my ID card off to them because it's been such a long-winded affair getting my other documents sent to them. So I'm really pleased that I don't have to do that over again and waste even more time doing that. And also I've got my booster jab coming up in the end of December, so hopefully get that done so I can try and stay safe. I'm a bit concerned, being a bus driver, that we're dealing with the general public, and obviously you don't know where everyone's been, so it's a bit kind of scary in some ways. But I'm trying not to get too sort of worked up over it, but that'll be done. And in January, I've got 2 weeks off, which will then allow me to crack on and maybe even get the corridor done. So we'll see how we get on with that. So until the next time, it's bye from Mildenhall and Valma. Goodbye, everybody. Merry Christmas and stay safe. Take care. Bye-bye.